Hi, welcome to day 3 of the Explore Your Limits Challenge. This is our third willpower workout. And the last 2 days we've been testing a combination of our physical capacity, our physical limits, and our mental capacity, and actually trying to do both of those at the same time to make it more than just a normal physical workout or more than just a concentration test, but something that requires you to focus on and bring both of those into a place of being stretched and pushed out of your comfort zone. In this third workout, we're going to test something different, and this is your emotions, how you feel, and we're going to push against some negative feelings that you're going to have. So this one's going to be really interesting. You're probably going to feel a different type of resistance to the idea of doing this. In this one, what we're going to do, and what I'm going to show you in a few minutes, is you're going to think of someone who either they, individually offend you or their ideas offend you. And then I want you to actually find something that they've written, that they've spoken, a podcast or a video of them talking about these ideas that would trigger you, that would get you riled up, get you upset, angry. And I'm going to ask you to actually read them, listen to them, watch them, whatever it might be. And then, now here's the kicker. Then I want you to think of 3 encouraging things to say about this person. And this is where the rubber meets the road, where you're going to actually go against that feeling that you have coming against you, that coming up within you that wants to, attack this person, that wants to, discredit them. And so you're going to come up with 3 encouraging things to say about them. And then, if you're brave and you want extra credit, you're actually going to post those things to somewhere publicly, to social media, or you could send it to them directly. So that's, I realize that might not be tenable in certain situations, and especially in our current culture, but that is the extra credit challenge. All right. So for today, for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick. I have a strong faith background and deeply believe in the existence of God, and so I'm going to pick Richard Dawkins, who, if you don't know, is a pretty potentially you could call aggressive or at least public atheist. Wrote the book The God Delusion, and so let's jump in and pull up a YouTube video by him. Okay, so the video quality on this is not great, but the sound works, as you can tell. So Richard Dawkins, The God Delusion, and you can see even here in the description, the famous atheist views religion as absurd and pointless. He said God is not different from the tooth fairy. So you can see aggressive points of view, very strong points of view that could easily offend someone who believes God is a critical part of existence. So let's listen to this.
There he is, Richard Dawkins. Nice to see you, man. How are you today? Before we start, and I think this is something that you don't hear a lot about, and just to be clear for people, the book is called The God Delusion, but it isn't just about the Judeo-Christian God. I think, and you go to links in the beginning of this book to talk about how it's the term that encompasses anything. So whichever version of a God or deity you believe in, monotheistic or polytheistic, whatever, you're talking about all of them, right? Welcome to the program. Thank you. Nice to see you. So, right off the bat, what's wrong with, in your opinion, with believing in a God, regardless of who the God is?
I think it's false. I think that it's a matter of belief without evidence. And as a scientist and as an educator, I like the idea that we believe things because there's evidence. There's such a lot of evidence available now at the beginning of the 21st century that it's a real shame, it's a tragedy to base your life upon something for which there is no evidence and never was any evidence, when the real truth is so wonderful.
Well, I suspect that the argument they would make is that because it's absurd, that's why it's faith, right? That if it was evidentiary, you would require no faith and it would be fact, and that would be missing the point of religion.
That's absolutely right, but that's not a point in its favor, is it?
Well, it's whatever gets you through the night, isn't it, ultimately?
Well, no, I mean, for me, what matters is the truth.
The scientific truth.
What other truth is there when we're talking about the universe, when we're talking about the nature of life? Of course, there are other sorts of truths, like moral truths, or maybe they're not truths at all, but they're not scientific. But I think if we're talking about the universe, about what reality is, about what life is, then truth means scientific.
Okay, I'm going to pause that there. So that obviously, contains a number of, Dawkins describing a number of different beliefs that are very opposed to what I believe, what I think. So now I'm going to come up with three encouraging statements about him. And this actually, I found myself, having not listened to Dawkins previously, I found myself actually finding it easier to come to those than I thought it would be. And perhaps it was because I took that mindset coming into it. But a few things that came to mind. One, I actually enjoyed how calmly he discussed these topics and how it wasn't an emotional experience of trying to persuade or convince or be aggressive emotionally, but it was actually very calm, very laid back, even saying perhaps this could be true. So I appreciated that about his perspective, and then I also liked where he said the piece about consolation and how it can console you, but it doesn't mean it's true, and that he has actually a high value for the truth and understanding what the truth is. And I think that's really important. And I hold that value as well. And so I found myself agreeing with him there. And then the third piece actually is similar to that, where he's talking about the need for evidence, and Zarvana itself is built on the idea of let's do what the evidence shows works when it comes to productivity and work life. And so those were three things I actually found oh yeah, I'm actually quite aligned with him in terms of his perspective there. So that was actually easier than I thought it might be. And just, even as I'm processing it, gives me the reflection of, okay, oftentimes we think someone who holds different views than us is so different and thinks that, we'll have to, when actually there's probably a lot of shared space there. So now I'm gonna go for the extra credit here. And now this still makes me a little nervous because it's so easy for people to misconstrue what you're saying and what you're trying to attempt. But let's give this a shot here. Okay. While I disagree with Okay, so I actually feel as I'm writing, I feel a bit better about it. Just obviously I've couched it a little bit. It wasn't just a blanket encouragement, but yeah, felt better about what I'm trying to communicate here. So I am going to give that a tweet. All right. So that's the challenge. That's the willpower workout for today. I encourage you to let's get out of Twitter before it shares something that is going to get us all riled up. So that is the challenge for today. Encourage you to push yourself here and go for it. Stretch your willpower.